Welcome back. The most recent Department of Homeland Security threat assessment lists racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists, especially white supremacist extremists, as the, quote, most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland. Curbing the violence could start with a change the way the government looks at policy. Katrina Mulligan's Managing Director for National Security and International Policy at the Center for American Progress. She's former security policy analyst at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Katrina, welcome, and thanks very much for coming on the program. You worked on this at Center for American Progress with a team from the McCain Institute. You have 5 recommendations here, and I want to focus on the first area of recommendations, the executive branch. You write in this work that prioritizing the threat of white supremacist violence across federal government departments and agencies is the biggest step here. Katrina, what are all of the areas beside DHS that need to focus on this issue in the executive branch?
Well, the most obvious one is the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which are largely responsible, for example, most visibly right now for prosecuting the folks who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. But I think that there are also increasingly signs that this is not just a problem that's limited to being a domestic problem, that there are actually transnational links that we need to be concerned about between what's happening here at home and threat actors overseas. And so in those situations, it's appropriate for the intelligence community to also get involved.
You also cite in this work the Education Department, Labor Department, HHS. What are their roles in your view?
So a lot comes down to, mental health and, what's going on in local communities. This isn't a problem that the federal government alone can solve. There's going to have to be partnership with state and local law enforcement, but also with some of the federal agencies that provide services to people, because many of the people who are involved in white supremacist extremism, who are motivated to commit acts of violence, have other underlying health and mental health issues that are contributing factors.
Another recommendation here is enhancing cooperation with state, local, and tribal law enforcement organizations. Is that primarily a Justice Department function? Is that FBI, or would that live somewhere else?
So a lot of that can happen with the Department of Homeland Security, which actually has robust vehicles for grant making at the state and local level and setting national policy. But obviously, the Department of Justice has a significant role. And, one of the really interesting ideas is creating a new criminal statute at the federal level, a criminal anti-militia statute. Those are statutes that exist at the state levels, but are difficult to enforce, largely for political reasons. So there is a strong argument, it's certainly worth studying, whether a criminal anti-militia statute would make sense.
Another element of this area of recommendations is allocating federal resources commensurate with the threat of white supremacist violence within existing federal prioritization frameworks. What frameworks already exist that those resources would go to?
So there, in the federal system, particularly at the FBI, there is a threat review and prioritization process, and currently, white supremacist extremism and domestic extremism more broadly is a priority 1 in that framework. But what you see is a real differentiation in how resources are being allocated. You see that domestic extremism is getting nowhere near the level of resourcing within the Bureau and elsewhere that other priority 1s are getting. And so part of what we're arguing is resource according to the threat, and don't try to let politics get in the way. So you don't have to equivocate with Antifa and put resources against something where we aren't seeing the same level of violence and lethality as we do against white supremacist extremists who are disproportionately causing harm.
Your team, the CAP team, and the McCain Institute for International Leadership team also cite an international element to this collaboration with the executive branch. What does that look like, Katrina?
So I think that is about collaborating with international partners, academic institutions, and nonprofits, and joining the Christchurch call. I mean, it's easy to forget because we've had so much going on here at home in the last 18 months that a lot of the eyes of the world were on Christchurch when a gunman went in and killed dozens of worshipers in mosques. we have a problem that is really big here at home, but it's also got links abroad, and we're going to have to work as an international community to really get our hands around it.
The last element in this one of 5 recommendation groups that you and your team make: establish a funded and staffed lead executive branch task force or committee. What would that committee do, and how do you make that not another task force like we see in Washington all the time that does work for 18 months and then disappears, never heard from again?
Well, in this case, I would love to have a task force that disappears and is never heard from again if we actually solve the problem. I think that, I've been very heartened to see what the Biden administration is doing. They've established a lead for looking at domestic extremist violence. And I believe that they have a strategy that's going to be unleashed probably in the next couple of weeks. They had a 100-day mandate, so we're coming up on that time frame now. I'm certainly very interested to see what they come out with, what their recommendations are, and the extent to which they align with the recommendations in our report.
Katrina, thanks very much for joining me. It's great to have you on the program.
Great to be here.